get started. So thanks for joining me, Summer. I want to show you the FLAST AI system first of all, and after that, I'll show you the actual personal AI system that I think you're going to be really interested in. So this is the interface that you see when you first sort of come into it. You just go to log in. When you log in, you will be greeted with your standard sort of prompt to double check that you're not a robot, which is ironic these days, isn't it?
Don't we all? Yeah. What's coming
up?
All robots.
Yeah, with AI and all of that. So the way that the AI system works, so there's a number of different modes that we've activated on this left-hand side panel. And one of the first modes is a mode that we call Legalese My Words. So the purpose of that mode is when people are using sort of their own words, what the system does here under Legalese My Words, it analyzes that text and breaks it down into the actual facts and issues that are being questioned here. And then here we have Quiz FLA. Now, Quiz FLA mode is a different mode that says, okay, given these facts, what sections of the Family Law Act apply? So it breaks it down and says, okay, well, given those facts here, this is the section of the Family Law Act that might be relevant to your case. So that's going to be important, especially for self-represented litigants where they're not really sure. They know, what's happening in their life and what's happening in their case, but they might not be well aware of all the different sections of the Family Law Act that are relevant in their case. So when it comes to either preparing an affidavit or some sort of a statement for their lawyers, it's always the benefit of the Quiz FLA is it shows you the sections of the Family Law Act that you're dealing with, and therefore any response that you give, you will frame around those sections and that information that's there. Quiz the Court rules. So the court has various rules in terms of how it handles various types of information coming from the litigants. So here you can ask you can post a question about what the facts are and what the issues are that you're dealing with, and it'll break it down and say, okay, well, Part 5, Rule 504 of the Family Law Rules of 2001 deals with family violence. And it sort of explains every step of the way what the issues are that a person might be dealing with. So when submitting an affidavit or information for your lawyer, or even the lawyer preparing information to submit to the court, they might even overlook certain rules that might be applicable. The benefit of an AI system is it has no emotions attached. It's not human, so it just applies the facts to the law and gives you all the information there. And the same thing here with the quizzing of the regulations, where you can quiz the regulations and you basically cut and paste the information in here, and it will now talk to the AI system and provide that information for you as to what regulations are applicable. So far, we're covering all the black letter law, the legislation, the regulations, the rules. Once that's all covered, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 modes of case analysis, where you can take the information that you've just received. So say, for example, here, I have evidence of threats to take children from me during our relationship. These threats were made by the OP following disagreements in our relationship, not due to any harm or neglect by myself or the children. So it's a general question that you will see often appear in Facebook groups and things like that. And here it says, okay, well, based on what you've said, this is the relevant case law. This case involves family violence. This is the reasoning here. So it gives you a complete analysis of your case. If you've got a lawyer already, it's a matter of handing this information to your lawyer on a silver platter for them to prepare your documentation. If you don't have a lawyer, well, it allows you to sort of frame your responses based on the information that's being provided there. In this mode here, it's also the AI system scores itself, right? So it's saying in terms of relevance, this case will be scored 8 out of 10 due to the similarities of the circumstances, and it scores 7 out of 10 based on the accuracy of the information provided. So IRAC analysis is providing a more detailed analysis of the question. So
what's IRAC stand for?
IRAC is a legal terminology. So when you study a law degree, you're taught, if you're going to analyze a case, you use the IRAC method. And the IRAC stands for issue, the rule, application of that rule, and the conclusion, or application or analysis is the way you would frame it. So when it has the answer, it shows you this is the issue. So that's the I for IRAC. This is the applicable rule. This is the application or the analysis of it. And here's your conclusion. So that's your IRAC analysis of that information. So where IRAC analysis becomes useful is if you are unsure of, what would be the outcome in this particular scenario. You can punch it through an IRAC analysis, and the IRAC analysis will say, well, this is the issue that you're talking about. This is the law, the applicable rules. This is how we apply that scenario to those rules. This is the relevant case law. And in conclusion, this is the conclusion that you have based on that scenario. IRAC analysis is also used to analyze cases. So if you've got a judgment that's just come out and you want to do an analysis of that judgment, then you use an IRAC analysis. We have a upload docs and quiz. In this section here, it allows you to essentially upload a file. So down here, you can click on the little icon here. You can upload a file into this AI system. So that file might be a judgment, it might be an affidavit, it might be a court report, whatever that document might be. When you upload it, it's uploaded to a secure section of the server that is for that particular user. It's designed to only you to do one file at a time. So you can quiz that one document and, do an analysis of that document. And it basically allows you to quiz the content of the document that you've uploaded. So if it's a judgment in your own case, you might get the AI system to analyze that judgment to see, did the judge make an error? Was there an error of fact? Was there an error of law? Was there, something that the judge gave too much weight to or not enough weight to? You can really analyze that file. And then we have Q&A with memory. This system here allows you to engage with the AI. So as you start to ask the AI questions, it will remember the previous conversation that it's had with you. So from all the previous modes that we've gone through, they're all one-off input. So if you ask it something, the next question that you ask, it has no memory of what you just asked it 2 minutes ago. But in this mode here, it has the ability to remember the context of the conversation, and so it allows you to continue to quiz the AI about, the case itself. And it always gives you, in this here, it's giving you, case law to consider and information to consider. And then at the end of it, with the Q&A with memory, it also prompts you. Now, my question for you is, have you consulted with a legal professional regarding the specific circumstance of your case? So, and making false statements in an affidavit. So as the person might answer that question, it will continue to guide and provide further guidance. Then you have document drafting. So in the document drafting system, You provide the words in simple English, and it converts it into an affidavit format for you. So this is the what we call the basic FLAST AI system here. So you can imagine a person involved in a family law matter that as their matter evolves, each time something occurs in their case, they can come in here. If they're not familiar with legal terminology, they use legalese my words to get the right terminology to ask the system. And then, you can quiz the different areas of black letter law, the legislation, the rules and the regulations, and then do an analysis of the case in multiple formats so you can get multiple different answers on the same scenario, looking at all possible angles of how to tackle that particular question. So what are your thoughts so far?
Yeah. Awesome. It looks great, Danny. And I know you're so passionate about this and you've been working on this for so long, and me on the sidelines coming in, it looks like you've advanced. AI is taking off, as we've discussed. And I think benefiting women in the family court, having been through the family court and represented for 2.5 years myself, spent close to $500,000 on legal fees, I think this is just something that could be so comforting for so many people. Obviously, there's going to be scope for errors, and obviously it's not going to remove the need for, legal advice in some instances.
I don't think it removes the need for legal advice at all. But what it does do, it allows you, as you say, you were previously represented, and it cost you a small fortune to have that legal representation. A lot of the costs of that legal representation come down to the sort of information that the AI can produce. So rather than you forcing your lawyer to spend hours and hours and days of research, you can actually provide the research. So typically the scenario would go like this. A person involved in a family law matter who's not familiar with the law engages a lawyer, tells the lawyer their story, what's happened, in their scenario, and then their lawyer will essentially do what we're doing here.
Well, this is where my cost was boosted, because I had 3 or 4 different lawyers purely for the financial element and a few other moving parts. But every time I went to a new lawyer, the background of the case needed to be established, the files needed to be established. I see this as not only supporting the self-litigators, like the litigants, but the family, supporting the family lawyers as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Not enabling them from a commercial perspective, whiteboxing this from a commercial aspect and licensing it to law firms so that they have their, legal assists and all the rest, not wasting, I shouldn't say wasting time, but not spending clients' money on valuable hours when
right. And vice versa, a client who is represented can use this system and provide the information to their lawyer on a silver platter.
Yeah.
So the lawyer's job now is a fraction of what it was, because the facts has been applied to the legislation, to the court rules, to the regulations. The research is done in terms of relevant case law, potential outcomes of those scenarios. Everything can be handed to the lawyer on a silver platter with a system like this. And this is just all of what you've seen here is what we would call our basic system. And see if you want to give it a go yourself.
Yeah. Well done, first and foremost. I know that you've worked so hard on this, Danny, and you're very passionate in this space, providing support for women in the family court, especially like single mums like me. And you've personally given me a lot of support on the phone when I'm in family court and I've got 10,000 papers around my lounge room and not sure where to look and what to do. And I think this is going to be a total game changer in this space, not only for women that are self-representing, but women that have been and are in the hands of a family lawyer as well. So very keen to watch this space, very keen to sort of stay as a cheerleader of FLAST, a cheerleader of you and everything you do, primarily because of, the fact that what comes around goes around. You know, I'm going to be here to guide you guys and support you guys as you have me. So
Thank you.
very excited about that.
Been too many times on the border.